What is up, guys? It's your boy No Risk, No Premium, back with another episode of the Market Overview. Guys, today we got the continued sell. Don't forget we had double inside week breaking down. If you remember from our last masterclass, we're doing that later in the Wolves of Wealth. In the last Sunday sermon that we posted on Sunday, we were talking about a double inside weekend. If we're going to break down one way, we're likely going to get some continuation down. So today we saw that continuation after the Powell move yesterday. So let us right to where? Let us right to our downside levels. If you zoom out and look left, you can see, right, you can see we have some big levels we are approaching, getting pretty oversold on some higher time frames. Are we due for a bounce? Maybe. Can we keep selling? Maybe. Right? You have to accept that, right? Just because we're oversold doesn't mean that we have to bounce, right? So tomorrow, though, the levels of interest I'm going to have, first off, let's take a peek at what we have on the docket for tomorrow. Nothing that much coming out as far as pre-market data. It's really only the data that comes. Oh, whoa. Here we go. It's the data that comes 15 minutes after the market open. We have some global composite PMI, services PMI, et cetera, manufacturing PMI. And then we have a Gov speaker that comes before market open. But really just a little bit of data, 15 minutes. And only thing you need to worry about for tomorrow is that. Other than that, you should be able to play the markets peacefully without having somebody speaking or some big data prints coming in. Okay, so what I'm going to be watching for tomorrow, right? If we just zoom out and we look left, right, we can see we have this contract roll back from June to September that still hasn't been filled. Now, they filled the one up here, right, rather quickly, which they normally do. But this one's been left on for quite some while, which tells me I think the bears are ultimately coming for that level, right? As you can see, we went down the last time we kissed it. I don't know if we get that same bounce or response there, but I will be looking as a level of interest to play a bounce in that zone initially, right? But that'll be looking for more of a scalp counter trend trade. I do think if it's not tomorrow, it might be, Monday of next week, Tuesday or whatever, next week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever. I do think we'll end up coming in and end up filling this gap at some point on this chart. Okay, and when we do fill the gap, I'll be looking to play the bounce at 43.25. All right, but as for tomorrow, what I'm looking at for tomorrow, it's really just going to be this 43.50, right? 43.50. It's going to be either bounce, okay, or break and hold to the downside to fill the gap. I think that's going to be an easy level for us to watch for tomorrow. I think we're going to get to that level tomorrow as well. Now, as far as a level that I think we can back test to, okay, if we do want to see a major bounce, we can watch, right? We can watch this 44.20 level, right? 44.20. We had a major breakdown. So I'll be watching from 44.09 to 44.20 in this zone in here. Right, this would be a retest that I would be watching. Whoa, I think the market just, yeah, okay. The Globex just opened, so you can see I took my mouse. What the heck? We have the Globex open here, but I'd be looking really in this area for a retest. Okay, a retest and reject. That's what I'd be watching for up here, 44.20. We could relief bounce higher back to 44.40, 44.50 to this zone up here. You could be watching for as well, right? But these are the two levels I think we could retrace to if we do get a very decent bounce, whether it's here at 43.67, where we see we have this wick down, or it's here at 43.50. Obviously, if the market wants to continue selling, don't fight the trend, take it down to 43.25, but it's all going to be about this level in between here, 43.50 and 43.68, 67. Zone, you guys see the zones we'll be looking at for retraces back higher. I believe if we do retrace back to 44.40, that would be a move, a complete gap fill on some of the indices, like a SPY index as well. Go to that chart here next. Looking at SPY guy here. Please stick with me. These are going to be some pretty, a lot of lines here. Okay, but nonetheless, you trade it as much as we do, right? A lot of these lines are very relevant. So we can see what? We can see this major breakdown zone from where we bounced last time. If you notice, this bounce, right? This was like 43.50 on ES. We've gone lower than that on SPY. So there is some divergence between the two. So if you're going to trade ES, trade the ES chart. If you're going to trade SPY, make sure you're watching the SPY chart. It wouldn't hurt to have them both open up at the same time. Okay, it wouldn't hurt to have them both open at the same time. So we can see, where do we come down to? Came right down here to this dip 431. I think ultimately we can get to the top of this balance zone where we had here for a little while. This would really interest me in longs here at about 429.50 to 430. I'd be really interested in longs here. Okay, down to this zone. And this to me would match up very well with like 43.50. Right? I think 43.50 would match up right here really well. 429 to about 430 in this zone to look for longs. Okay, if we do now, let's just go to the daily, put this gap in here. Right, there is a major gap to fill. Does that mean we fill it tomorrow? Does it mean we fill it the next day? I don't know when we fill it. Okay, but it's good to put the gap in here so we can see it. Still have this gap up here. We have a gap down here. Okay, so for me, let's go back to the 4 hour. The level of retrace that we could look to would be where we obviously the high of the day today, 436, and the gap fill would take us up to about 438.50. Right, so this whole area, I could see us going in for a retrace. Right, I can see us going in for a retrace. So let's see. So tomorrow, let's watch 429.50 to 430 for a bounce. If we zoom out and look left, it's the top of this old balance. Let's see if we can get a dip down, hold. If we hold, look to see if we can reclaim 431, 432, 435, 436 to 437. 438.50 is going to be that big gap. I think that's where we could see a possible dead cat bounce, or whatever you want to call it, retrace bounce, whatever you want to call it. Okay, whatever you want to call it. So tomorrow, 429.50 to about 430. Let's look for the bounce. Okay, let's look for the bounce. Break and hold underneath that level. We could easily come down and see 426. 426 is the old bottom of this old balance down here. If you zoom out and look way left, right? Zoom out, look way left. So that's what I'm watching for. Looking for the 429.50 to 430 bounce. Break and hold underneath that 426. If not, watch for 435, 436, 438 would be the gap fill and full retrace on the breakdown of that move. All righty, QQQ. That's not QQQ. That's just QQ. That's QQQ. Let's see, right to where? Right back to our 357.50. Big level that we had. Old balance zone. We see we had a dip below. You could see Q's has not made has not hit its August low. So tech is stronger. So what industry is holding SPY down? I think it's XLF. Could be, and it could be any other sector, but I think, when these rates are really high and TNX is high, banks don't like that. Cost of capital is a lot more expensive, right? They don't have much, flexibility to do things when rates are much higher, right? So it's constricting the banks, I believe. But ultimately, I'll just watch the charts. I'm just making a little bit of macro sense. But SPY is one of the bigger sectors. Excuse me. XLF is one of the bigger weighted sectors on SPY, so it does not surprise me if it's what's pulling us down. Tech is the most heavily weighted, and it's been stronger, right? It's been stronger. So 357.50, I will be watching here, but ultimately, I think the more high probability bounce is going to be about 354, 355 in this zone. This is some old balance from back here at 357.50. So if we want to make the higher low here, could be interesting, but I think we could dip a little below it down to this 355. That's where I'd be most confident to take the longs. Most confident to take the QQQ longs, 355. If we do have it, we can watch which levels to the upside for a retrace. I would watch this level here. 360 will be big. 362, 365. Let's see if we have a gap that we can highlight here on the daily. We do. So let's highlight it so we know where it is. Okay, so now we can see daily gap to get filled back to the upside. 362 is going to be a big level. 362 take us all the way back up to 364.50. Okay, so we're going to watch the 355, and now we're going to highlight this level. Okay. Okay, and we can put, I like to put a little box in here, just draw it like this. See, look, in this zone, in this little 355, 356, let's see if we can get a bounce, because if we do want to make a higher low structure, then the markets would bounce just a little bit before. So put a little zone in there, make it easy. Okay, but I am watching for the bounces in that zone. If we do, for some reason, just really continue to sell, and it gets some more head of steam. Okay, more head of steam. I think, let's take this old level off. I think coming back down, I like the 352. I think we can see 352 and then ultimately down to 348 underneath there. Okay, 352, 348. Those are going to be the major levels. You can see we had a dip buy in there and go. Okay, but underneath there, 352 is the bottom of that old balance zone. I think that's where we could get to. I don't know, tomorrow, maybe tomorrow, I don't know. But I think we can get there if we just continue this sell down. But ultimately, 355, 356, I'll be looking for the bounce. Watch for the gap fill back at 361.50 all the way to 364.50. That's a 3-point gap. Okay, that's a 3-point gap. Alrighty, last but not least, IWM. IWM, small caps, Russell 2000 small caps. Let's zoom out. Let's look left. What do we got going on here, guys? Way more defined head and shoulders here. And a breakdown of the head and shoulders already. Right, breakdown of the head and shoulders already. We knew that this old balance zone that we had right here, we were anticipating the bounce here 179.50. We thought it'd come at 177.50. It's not. Okay, it's not. So 176 even down to 173. Those are going to be the two levels you're going to want to watch tomorrow. 176, 173. So either you take a reject and those are your price targets, or we fall out of the sky and we see at 173 if we could take a bounce in this level here. Guys, that's all I got for you. Remember, just a little bit of data after the open, 15 minutes in, some composite manufacturing services PMI. And then that's it, guys. It's Friday. Tomorrow, one and done is all you need. Book a tea time. Enjoy your early weekend. And guys, you got to wake up early, get your levels right, and of course, not do anything fucking stupid. We'll see you bright and early. Peace.